He's 4 years of age. He's standing on the grass. It's a beautiful sunny day. He's got the Mourne Mountains behind him. He's got a beautiful beach to his right hand side and loads of places just to run about and play and be a young boy all around him. But he's just decided in that moment it's not safe to do that. It's not safe to be spontaneous. It's not safe to drop his guard. He can't do that. For him to just have fun, for him to let go, for him to be spontaneous, that equals danger. Because expressing himself, letting go, having fun, being spontaneous means that he's going to be physically hurt. He's going to be physically attacked, at least verbally attacked. Because that's just the environment that he's grown up in. That's the way he feels. That's what he perceives. Other members of his family have made other decisions, but that's his perception. He has decided that it's not safe to be anybody other than somebody who's on high alert, be the people pleaser. Hello there, my name's Nigel Colmer. That young boy that I was talking about a few moments ago was me, a 4-year-old who was just standing there on the grass, totally overwhelmed and bewildered. I had made the decision that if I put myself out into the world, if I showed the real me, if I dropped my guard of trying to keep myself safe, if I was spontaneous, if I was just Nigel, that equaled pain. That equaled physical pain or emotional pain. I would get physically attacked or verbally abused in some way. I had made those decisions and that was my perception, and that's just the way it is. Other members of my family, friends and relatives had made other decisions. The environment I was growing up in and at that time what was going on in the country at the time all had an influence on me. My perception was it is not safe to be seen. It is better to hide in the shadows, better to stay out of the way. Okay? Just keep out of trouble. Be a people pleaser. If somebody came along, yes, I was that person who would just say the right thing, do the right thing, just to keep myself safe. And I couldn't wait to get out of their company and back home again where I was relatively safe. Now, if that sounds like something that resonates with you, I'm going to take you on a journey. I'm going to show you and introduce you to techniques that you can use from today. You're going to be able to move forward. You're going to have access to different ways that you can calm your mind down, okay? Uncover your limiting beliefs and move forward. It's a process. I'm going to give you insights into those processes. And I'm going to give you some resources as well that you can use right after this video. So if that sounds like something that you want to learn more about, please watch more. Okay, let's jump straight in. Core beliefs. I'm going to talk now about core beliefs. So the first thing I want you to think about is a core belief. What do I mean by a core belief? Well, for me, a core belief is something that we really do believe inside ourselves. I'm looking at it from the point of view of what's keeping you back. So we're going to be looking at a limiting core belief. Examples of that might be somebody who feels worthless, maybe don't feel significant at all. Maybe somebody feels helpless. They just feel vulnerable and inferior compared to other people. It might be a feeling of not being important, not being good enough. Or it could be unlovable. They have a fear that they're not going to be liked and they're not going to be able to get close to anybody and form relationships with them. For me, mine was it's not safe to put myself out into the world. Okay, if I did that, it would be very bad for me in terms of I believe that I would be physically or verbally both attacked. Okay, so physically attacked, verbally attacked, that was my fear. That came from a very, very early age. So, core beliefs, what are they the result of? For me, my belief is they're the result of past events, past experiences. Things that we might have been subjected to, things that we were actually physically involved in, or things that we watched, we observed, maybe saw somebody else getting hurt. What keeps a core belief alive then? Again, my interpretation of this is what is it that we saw? What event took place and what did we see? What did we hear Did somebody tell us we were useless? We're going to amount to nothing, you know? What did we feel? What did you feel inside at the time of that event? Physically, was there tension? Was there pain? Was there stress in the body? Emotionally, was it fear? Was it anger? Was it rage? Was it upset? Was it overwhelm? What did you feel? Were there any other indications, such as maybe there was a smell at the time? Maybe you tasted something at the time? All of this goes and is combined along with this last one, which is self-talk. At the time of the event, what did you tell yourself? What were your thoughts? These come together to form what we call VACOGs. Please do not get caught up in all of this. Don't worry, don't get hung up and thinking I need to remember all this. Absolutely not. This is for me to give you some information as to how and why you are the way you feel. All right then, so more information there. Why am I sharing this with you? Hopefully to help you realize that what you have seen in life, what you have heard, what you've experienced yourself has helped create your perception of who you are. But the word is perception. It's not the real you. You've had to do things such as keep yourself safe by staying out of the way, keeping quiet so that you don't get picked on, and things like that to keep yourself safe. You've made decisions and then you keep it alive. You keep rehearsing it over and over in your mind. What you saw back then, what you heard back then, what your self talk was back then, and then you keep it alive. Why? Because you've recorded it and you've stored it. And it's stored and recorded because it's your go to, because that way you'll automatically know how to get yourself out of trouble. But think of the limiting beliefs, how they actually hold you back in life. Okay, so I'm going to now show you where you store that and how you store that information that is keeping you playing it small. These are Russian dolls. They fit inside each other to eventually fit inside the big one. To me, they represent memories. They represent us, younger versions of ourselves who have formed beliefs at certain times when growing up. You could look at them as being memory capsules, or trauma capsules is another term people use. What do I mean by this? So we have our memories, we have our experiences, we've got what we saw visually, what we heard auditory, kinesthetic, what we felt, what we said to ourselves. All of that is stored in a memory, in an event. And another way to look at it is that younger versions of you, in other words, memories were made from the day you were born right the way through to now. And they're stored in our subconscious. 95% of our behavior is controlled by our subconscious programs. Okay then, you're still here. Brilliant. In this next portion, what I'm going to do is show you the cycle of fear, the cycle of what it is that you use to keep yourself stuck, to keep yourself playing it small, to keep yourself safe. Why your identity has been formed based on falsehoods, based on conditioning from the past. The good news is that was me. I conditioned myself in such a way and was conditioned by my environment and by other people to think that it wasn't safe to be me. Now I'm standing in front of you today and stand in front of the world, put myself out there with my message. So really, at the end of the day, if you want to make changes, it's good for you to know why you have been doing what you've been doing and behaving, and why your habits have become your identity. And as I say, I've changed it, you can change it. Have a look at this next part. So we've got our core habit, we've got our core belief. How do we keep this going? Why have you not been able to change until now? I liken it to this image here of people in a relay race, and one person is handing a baton to the other person. In other words, if you've been bullied, or if you've been suffered domestic violence or some form of abuse, the perpetrator did it, and then you rehearse it, you keep it alive. Even though they're no longer here, they might not even be on the planet anymore, you still rehearse it in your mind what actually happened to you. So first of all, we have the experience, the upsetting event. And then we take a snapshot, our mind takes a snapshot of everything that is contained in that memory. All the things we saw, all the things we heard, all that we felt, all of our self-talk. We rehearse that. So often it becomes a belief. It's not safe to put myself out there. I'm not good enough. I'm worthless. I'm not going to amount to much. I'm fat. I'm thin. I'm ugly. Whatever that is, that becomes your belief. That becomes your new go-to. You rehearse that. You play it over and over and over until it becomes a habit. And then that habit becomes a behavior. So you behave in a certain way. You maybe are timid. You may be shy. You're maybe wanting to put yourself out there, but it's safer to stay in the shadows. Something like that. You actually do then behave in a certain way. And through time, that becomes your identity. Okay, so you're still with me. Brilliant. Now, I'm going to just sum this up. My belief is this is you. This is the conditioned you. This is the version that you show to the world. This is the version of you that has come about through making decisions to keep yourself safe. It's not safe to put yourself out into the world. It's not safe to be seen. It's not safe to express yourself. It's just not safe to be you. So you've had to reject the real you. And the distance between the conditioned you and the real you is where that tension is. It's where that overwhelm is. Think of the effort it takes to maintain that facade. How good would it be for you to be able to close that gap and get yourself back into alignment with who you truly are? I'm going to show you now, I'm going to share with you a short excerpt as to how I was damaging myself and how my self-esteem was so low, my self-worth and self-belief was so low that I was just frozen in the moment. I'll not say any more. I just want you to watch the video and then I'll come back to you and talk about it in a few moments. Now, what I'm going to talk about here is something specific to me. You may identify with it, you may not. I'm going to tell you a personal story that happened to me and I'm going to share it with you. What's important is that you listen out for what I'm saying to myself, what I'm picturing in my mind, what I'm hearing, and how I'm feeling. So like I say, this may resonate with you completely or may not, but just look at the structure of how I'm thinking. This is universal. What I'm doing to my body and my mind, this is how I keep the fear alive. The good news is we can undo that, but before we undo it, we have to understand how we're doing it in the first place. I'm 16 years of age. I've just got on the bus. I cannot find anybody safe to sit beside. So I'm on the bus, we're travelling down the main road, we've turned right onto the ring road and we're coming towards the bus stop. The bus stop where the bullies are going to be. I'm sitting here vulnerable. I'm starting to shake a wee bit. I can feel the adrenaline pumping through my body. I've already pictured what they're going to say. I'm thinking about what experiences I'm going to have. My whole body is starting to tense up. The bus pulls up. The bullies get on. There's the ringleader. He's walking past me now. He's sniggering at me. He's sneering at me. He's jeering. He's cursing at me. He knows I'm heavily outnumbered here. He knows that for the next half hour, I'm going to be tortured. I'm going to be bullied. His mates sit beside him. As soon as the bus moves off, it starts. The name calling, the cursing, the jeering, the throwing of paper and anything else they can get their hands on. And I'm sitting there rigid. I'm saying to myself, I cannot do anything here. It is not safe for me to put myself out there. It's not safe for me to stand up. It's not safe for me to basically approach these people and say, stop. There's enough is enough. I cannot do that. I can't do that because I will get physically hurt. I'm going to get attacked. I can't do it. I've never been able to do it. I have to give in. It's only going to last for half an hour. I can hear their jeers. I can hear their mocking laughter. It's just all building up and building up. And I feel so locked in. I'm frozen. I just can't move. It's as if I'm just one piece of metal that will not bend. I'm so locked in place, full of fear. I just can't even get up and look around. I can't get up and move. I will just sit and take it. I can't do anything about it. I call this the bully on the bus. That's what happened to me for about 3 or 4 months during a period of my life when I was 16. I was 6 foot tall. The bullies were even smaller than me. If you're thinking, is it a stature thing? Is it a size thing? No, it's a belief thing. It's about belief. My belief, my core belief was if I stand up for myself, if I put myself out there, I will be attacked. And that just went through every cell of my body. And the actual biological side of it is I closed down. The front of my brain just closed down. All blood flow just gets taken away from the organs. The stomach starts to tighten up, and I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't do a thing about it. So that physical sensation in my body, I had my self-talk as well. My talk inside my head. I'm not good enough to do this. I can't stand up to these people. I just can't do anything about it. If I do, it's going to be worse. I'm going to make life really bad for myself. I'm going to get physically hurt. I'm going to get physically attacked. And that kept me frozen. Okay, so at this point, I want to remind you of something. It is not necessary for you to have experienced exactly what I experienced. My core belief was based on events that I experienced in my life. Yours may be different. But I would suggest to you that the formula that you are using and you're running to keep that fear alive is similar to mine. It's what you're saying to yourself. It's what you're picturing in your mind. It's what is coming up for you in your body, what physical sensations there are and what emotions there are. That's all encapsulated. Remember the wee Russian dolls? All kept there, splits off so that you can function in life, but then something triggers you. Maybe something somebody says. Maybe it's something that you see on TV or the internet or a conversation you have with somebody, and it just brings it all flooding back. So I've been able to release that. I've been able to let that go. And that's what I want to share with you now because we're coming to the end of this short presentation. And thank you so much for staying the distance. And maybe something I have said has made a difference to you. Maybe it's something that's actually going to have an impact on you now. And that's what the desire was from my part. I can't emphasize enough. I was that quiet, timid, beaten down boy. And then I continued to keep myself down and I continued to beat myself up until I realized enough is enough. What I was projecting out to the world was not the real me. And I'm back in alignment with who I am. Do I stay there all the time? No, because I'm human. I've got hormones going through my body and there's always going to be contrast. But if I do get knocked off a wee bit, I can get myself back into alignment so much quicker. And that's what I would like to share with you. So please watch the next excerpt. All right then, so we're at the very end of the presentation. This is the point where I share with you the process I call the 10 A's. I'm going to guide you through exactly what I would do with you in a session. So the first A is agree. What do I mean by agree? Well, if you come to me as a client, we would agree what outcome you want, not what I want, what you want. So you'd have an idea of how you'd want to feel or how you'd want to think. The second A is attune. And what I mean by that is I would help you get yourself into a calm state, a calm way of feeling and a calm way of thinking. And there's a number of processes that I can share with you to help you do that. The next A is accept. A big part of where we are in a session is accepting how you feel, accepting where you've been, accepting what has happened to you, and accepting what experiences you've had in life. We don't try to pretend, we actually accept, yes, that was then, and this is now. Very similar to that is acknowledge. We acknowledge how we feel, we acknowledge what we're thinking, we acknowledge what is going on inside our body. It's a bit like attuning. Attunement is at that second stage where we get nice and calm. Further in then, we acknowledge, yeah, this is how I feel, this is what I believe, this is what I'm thinking. Again, your stuff, you explain it to me, and then that gives us something to work forward with. Access. More often than not, a memory will come up or a feeling will come up, a familiar feeling, a familiar thought that might lead us to a memory. What we don't do is go and open up a big can of worms. That's a big fear that a lot of people have. It's nothing like that at all. We can access past events where those core beliefs were made. Now, if that's something that we do, that's fine. It's not always necessary. Sometimes we can just go with the feeling. Maybe people can't remember past events, but if we can access the feelings or access the memories, that again gives us a good starting point. Another A is allow. We allow the feelings to come up. We allow the thoughts come into our mind because I will have helped you create a safe environment in which you feel safe to do that. So we allow our feelings and our thoughts and our sensations to surface. Acquire. What do I mean by acquire? For me, we acquire the knowledge and the awareness of what actually happened at that time. And we balance that out then with what's happening now today. Because in session, you'll feel very safe and very secure. Your mind and body might not have caught that up. They may still be in the past. Your mind might still be in the past. Your body might still be adapting to things that have happened in the past. So what we do is we actually acquire the information, and then through a number of processes I share with you, you can then help your mind and body calm down and realize that that was then and it's not happening now. A very important one, I consider anyway, is align. The wonderful part of doing session work is that you can then clear all of the hurt, clear all of the trauma, clear all of the past, uncover the limiting belief. If you didn't already know it, really take a look at what is supporting that limiting belief, but uncovering the limiting belief and then realizing that that was then, it's not happening now. And if you are experiencing things now, we can give you resources to help you deal with that. So that's an important bit, aligning with who you really are, getting back to who you maybe have never thought you were in the first place. You may have rejected yourself a long time ago, but how wonderful is it then to find out this is the real me, and you get that confidence and you get that self-esteem, you get that self-worth, you get that self-belief. It's just magical to see that actually happen in front of your eyes. Affirm, AFFIRM. An important part of the process. It's not just positive affirmations. We don't just read these out of a book or hear off the internet, other people's versions of these. It's important that we affirm what you believe, what your new awarenesses are now. It's all about you. This is a time to be totally selfish. What is it that you have learnt about yourself and now believe about yourself and you would like to affirm? And then the last one is actualize. So what do I mean by actualize? For me, actualize is to actually see manifestations. You will begin to manifest in your life ways of being, ways of thinking, ways of feeling. You will manifest those. Throughout this process, that's what it's been guiding you towards. What your new belief is, I'm safe. It's safe for me to put myself out there. I'm confident. I can speak up for myself. It's okay to be me. All of these things, when you start to instill the beliefs, then you'll start to see yourself behave in different ways. And then your habits will be different and your identity will be different. The identity will not be just some hocus pocus made up thing. Your identity will be as close as you want it to be in alignment with who you really are. That takes less effort to maintain, because when you are who you really are and you behave in alignment with who you really are, then it takes no effort just to be yourself. You'll find yourself being more confident in situations before that you wouldn't have been able to do. You'll be more outgoing, but Ultimately, you will find happiness and health. You'll be able to get yourself into situations that before you'd have thought, I couldn't do this. I wouldn't feel safe doing this, but you will feel safe. You'll have more energy. You'll have more vitality. You just will have so much more self-belief and self-confidence and self-worth. You'll surprise yourself when you actualize, when you make it real. So hopefully this has given you an insight into my thinking, my approaches, and how I help people. My website is clearyourfears.co.uk. There you'll see a lot of videos about my approach, and I'll also be posting regularly how-to videos using some of the techniques that I will use with you in a session. The ones that you'll see online are very general. They have to be general. But when I work with you one-to-one, it will be specific, and I encourage you to be 100% selfish. What I mean by that is think what you want for yourself. How do you want things to be in future? And I will show you the techniques to get you there. Like I say, I'm a living, breathing, walking example of what is possible. If I can make change, so can you. Looking forward to connecting with you in the future. All the best now, and thanks for taking the time to watch this. Take care now. Bye bye.